Trade Minister Mustafa Mohammed is in the United States, Atlanta, Georgia to be precise, to join his counterparts from 11 other countries for the latest Trans-Pacific Partnership Ministers meeting. For more on what's going on with the TPP, let's get to Cynthia Ng. All right, this is the second round of talks this year so far, and TPP negotiations have been going on for 5 years.
That's right, and there's definitely this sense of urgency to conclude this year, deal by this year, especially for the U.S. Now, you know that this 2016 is when the presidential campaign will happen, and it can be expected that lawmakers will be more wary to vote on this what is called a controversial and massive deal. Now, the biggest criticism that has been leveled against this TPP is that most of these negotiations has been kept under wraps, and the same criticism also has been leveled against Malaysian negotiators. But you know, what they say is true. In fact, no, TPP discussions has to be held largely in secret because to protect, to avoid any interference from vested interests. Now, this latest trip of Tokpa to Atlanta is to negotiate Malaysia's interest in the TPP. Now, according to a statement before he left, among some of the issues that will be discussed is national sovereignty, and including Bumiputera interests, as well as the rights and interests of SME and state-owned enterprises.
The last ministerial meeting took place in Hawaii, and that ended in a deadlock. So what's the likelihood of there being even some type of agreement this time round?
Well, according to Tokpa, in an interview with Business Times before he left, he sees a 50-50 chance that this deal can be concluded in Atlanta. But whatever agreement that is reached in Atlanta will not be absolute, as our parliament will still have to deliberate and vote on it. Now, in a statement also, Mustafa assured that he is not going to Atlanta to sign the agreement, but to ensure the country's interests are safeguarded in this negotiation. It would be signed if the people and the Malaysian parliament are satisfied that the TPP generally provides benefits to Malaysia. Now, he also says that this agreement's text will be made public in about a month if there are developments in Atlanta, and the government will eventually then do a cost-benefit analysis on the TPP and its impact to Malaysia, and this analysis will be undertaken by the Institute of Strategic and International Studies, ISIS, and also auditors PwC, and after which only then the draft agreement and the text and the study will be tabled in Parliament, our Parliament, for debate.
So there is the debate whether or not the pros outweigh the cons, but what are the benefits that have been identified for Malaysia with the TPP?
Well, for Malaysia, it's a pretty small economy compared to the rest of the big guys here, like the US and Japan. So definitely market access, a preferential market access for Malaysia. And on top of that, with this market access, which would help in boosting the level of exports from Malaysia to these member countries. And according to a research by the Peterson Institute of Economics in Washington, it says that if we stay on track on TPP, exports will increase 133 billion ringgit in 10 years. So whether parties will or will not sign on the dotted line really depends on the benefits and the cost. Does the benefit outweigh the cost? And there are some concerns about the TPP. For example, if you can pull up the next chart here, we can see some of the concerns. With the TPP, there will probably be a tariff reduction and removal, and that would increase competition from exports, and this may cause an impact to local SMEs. And on top of that, the intellectual property framework, which may delay entry of generic drugs into the market, and that may also push some of the prices of medicine up. So this is among some of the concerns and key sticking points that Tokpa and maybe some of the ministers will have to go through before
we have to recall when the U.S. Trade Representative Michael Froman was in KL just some months ago, he was fairly optimistic that a deal would be pushed through before Obama ends his presidential term. And Obama is possibly going to be in Kuala Lumpur for an ASEAN summit at the end of the year, which might also sync up with his trips to the G20 summit in Turkey, as well as the APEC meeting in the Philippines. So much more ahead potentially for the TPP. Thanks for the update on that front.